Hello, it's Aaliyah Shamir back with another video. Okay, that was awkward, but it's okay. So today I want to do a video about attachment theory. So like I've been saying, like a broken record, I am a psychology student who eventually will get their doctorate, unlike Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, just kidding. And so in my classes today, well, this week or the semester of classes I'm in, of course, in psychology we talk about this stuff no matter what, but I'm in close relationships, and the first thing we started to discuss was attachment theory. And it's so funny because I'm actually discussing attachment theory in therapy. It just so happened that it came up. And when my therapist originally said it to me, I felt attacked because she identified that I have an anxious attachment style, which all my anxiously attached people who may manifest in that way, because no one's 100% one way. I feel for y'all. Everyone's always talking about us badly when it's honestly not our fault. So I just want to discuss that in brief detail. So this video, I'm going to discuss what it is, where it started, how it develops, how I noticed it in my life, and what we can do to make it better. And I also want to say that there's literally I feel like criticism nowadays is very hard for people to take. And it's almost an overcorrection of the past, and how in the past people used to be so hard on people and be very unwelcoming, to the point where now we have this overcorrection where it's like everyone is welcome and everyone is right and everything's okay. And it's like there's a happy medium. Like, there's important to get feedback, it's important to get some type of criticism. It was important for my therapist to identify something that I had already privately probably be like talk to my friends about and be like, oh, I feel like at times when I'm in situations I manifest in an anxious way with my romantic partner. And they would give me feedback and if they didn't tell me that stuff, or if I didn't even give myself the ability to look within myself and see areas where I'm not showing up the best, then I wouldn't be able to grow. And so I don't want anyone to ever feel like when people are telling you the truth per se, that you're taking it as an attack, because it's not an attack, especially depending on the how and where it's coming from. There are people who are just not very kind and don't care about how things impact the other person, but there's people that really want to help you. And if you are an anxiously attached person or avoidant, disorganized, the one that everyone wants to be is a secure attachment style, which I'm working to be. And most of the time I pretty much show up in a secure way. It just depends on the nature of the relationship, where it kind of reminds me of my childhood trauma, which is where this stuff starts out in, where I may become anxious. So it's like not one size fits all, and we can do better, but you have to know the truth in order to change it. Okay? And I said all of that, but I'm realizing that something's wrong with my camera. Let me wipe it. Okay, I'm back. I had to put on some makeup because I'll be running errands today. But like I was saying before, I want to talk about attachment theory. And I want to talk about attachment theory today. And why I want to talk about attachment theory is because not only have I been studying it in my new semester of classes, but also I've been actually working through it with my therapist recently. And it is very challenging as someone who manifests at times in an anxious attachment style, because social media and people in general demonize everything that's not like what they deem is normal. And anxious people are made to look like they're always begging and needy, and that's not the case, because that's not the case in my life. Most people in my life will probably say that I'm very hyper independent, and they have a hard time knowing how to show up for me, because they believe that everything's okay, when in actuality a lot of times I'm struggling like everyone else. It's just that I'm afraid for people to see my vulnerabilities. I think that if they see me in a vulnerable state, that they wouldn't want to stay. And so I become the strong friend. Where it typically manifests, where I manifest anxiously, is in romantic relationships. So if I am dating a guy and I really start to have strong emotions, or we get to the point where we want to commit to one another, I start freaking out. And I don't know where I do know where it comes from, and that's why I'm going to define the actual what attachment theory is. But there was a time, let me change that. There was a time where I didn't understand why that would happen, and I would be as confused as the person that's dating me. Like, I don't know why I'm acting like this. I don't know why I'm starting to feel scared that you're going to leave me and that you won't like me. I don't know why, instead of just expressing my feelings and that I'm scared to lose you, that I start freaking out and acting crazy or hyperfixating on an issue that's really not the main issue. Most of the time I just want to be close, but I'm scared to be close, so I end up pushing people away. It's a crazy way to manifest, and that's why I want to talk about it, because I feel like there's a lot of people who go through this. So first I'm going to define it in a very meticulous way with the help of ChatGPT. If you don't know who ChatGPT is, it's ChatGPT. So attachment theory is a psychological theory that explains how early relationships with caregivers shape the way people form emotional bonds, trust others, handle closeness, and respond to separation throughout life. It suggests that the quality of care a child receives, such as consistency, safety, and responsiveness, can influence how they relate to others in friendships, family relationships, and romantic partnerships later on. All right, so the theory has 5 different categories. I'm wrong, 4 different categories, and then it goes from insecure or fearful. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into the baseline. So the first one that everybody wants to obtain is secure attachment style. So this person feels a cool with closeness and trust people as long as they're able to observe and discern that that person is worthy of their love and affection. They typically are fine with it. Anxious attachment, they worry about rejection or abandonment. You know, it's like, no, I don't typically care if I feel like, it doesn't bother me until I care. Does that make sense? Because we all know the people that hurt us the most are typically the people closest to us. And as I have stated before, the people who were closest to me and were supposed to raise me and teach me how to love and connect to people hurt me a lot. So therefore, I associate love, affection, closeness with a lot of pain, abandonment, and rejection, because that's a lot of things that I experienced as a child. It does not mean that that was the intent of the caregivers that took care of me. It was just the actual impact of what occurred in my life and how it interpreted and how it manifests. And that's why we have to be mindful of our trauma so that we don't go on passing off trauma to children. Tangent I don't want to continue. But basically, I fear people rejecting me that I really love and care about, because when I was in childhood, I didn't have control of the rejection and abandonment that occurred in my life, and I internalized it, and it was the worst pain I could ever feel. And so it scares me to ever experience that in adulthood, and I sometimes don't know how I can respond to it. So rejection doesn't play out typically in things that I don't really feel close to. So I could apply, like for the past year, I have applied for many jobs. I've done interviews, and even in my new field, I've testified that I've done all those things. Those typically don't bother me until I really like the job. Like I really want the job and I feel like this is something that I want. That's when I start to feel anxious in that situation too. Like, I really like this. I really want them to perceive me the way that I want to be perceived, and the way that I think that I'm qualified, and I'm scared and I'm like afraid. And sometimes how it shows up, it cripples me. So at work, my last job, I'm very good at public speaking. I'm very good at anything I set my mind to be honest. And that's not me being cocky. It's just who I am. Like, I will really fight to master anything that you put in front of me. I don't know where it came from. It just became something that I'm really good at. Just anything you put in front of me, I can at least master it one time. So As long as I have time to just work it out, I'll do it. But I get to the point where I get to a very respective level at my job, and everyone respects me, everyone, all this stuff. And then for some reason, there's this little voice in my head like, they actually hate you. They actually think you're dumb. And then it has to be one person that probably doesn't even need to be respected in the first place. And they probably see that I need to be validated externally a lot. And so they play on that insecurity. And then I think that everybody thinks that. And I start to sabotage the situation in general. So that's just the way that I've seen it develop. And like, even I have a hard time taking constructive criticism, especially if I really take time and work on a project. It will be very harmful for me for someone to not receive it the way I put it in, because I really adapt things and I take it on as my own person, which is like, it's just a job. It's literally just a job. Like, it's just a job. It's just a project. You're not always going to get everything right. Nothing in life is perfect. No one's perfect. But I personalize it, and it can really break me down from the inside out. And that's just the anxiety of things, because you start to have swirling thoughts. Like a little on the tangent. The other one that everyone hates, which really sucks, is avoidant attachment style, valuing independence and sometimes avoiding emotional closeness. The last person I was in love with was manifested at times in avoidance, but both, it is still something that I'm processing and working through in therapy. But one thing I've learned is not to demonize people, because everybody has nobody wants to wake up and just want to respond in a way that is not normal. Like, and I don't want to say normal as anyone that manifests in these ways should feel demonized, but I just want to say that if someone had the choice, especially someone who has showcased in normal times that they're pretty much a good, upstanding person, they don't want to, when they're stressed out, to operate in avoidance or anxious, or immediately think that people want to run away from them, or immediately think that people are trying to suffocate them and take away their autonomy. Because that's what avoidant people think. They think that they're going to lose their autonomy and freedom, and anxious people feel like they're going to be abandoned and rejected by people they love. If people look behind the wall, they're going to see that they're not that great, and nobody on this earth is perfect, and everyone has flaws. So I would protect yourself, of course, but be patient. And I don't label that person. I know the person that I loved and care about, and I wouldn't have fell in love with someone who was a horrible person. And although we probably will never be together in this lifetime, it doesn't mean that this person is horrible. That person made me look within myself and also learn the things that I need in a partner to feel safe. Because if I'm a person, when I'm very stressed out or overwhelmed, I need someone to be there for me as some form of stability, and to basically be my I need someone to help me in my baseline sometimes. I need, in general, when I'm in those spaces, and if he's someone who's stressed, he likes to retreat, which he vocalized all these things. We both would talk about these things. It's just, we just could not make it work. It's not that both of us are bad people. It's just that maybe we're just not made for each other. We have a lot of work to do if we want to do that. And sometimes it's too much damage done to ever make that work. So I said all of that to say, don't demonize people, be patient. And if sometimes someone's not a bad person, they're just not the right person for you. Lastly, this last one, I don't really understand. I've never experienced it, but I'm going to try my best to talk about it. Is the disorganized attachment. Experiencing mixed or conflicting behaviors around closeness, often linked to inconsistent or frightening caregiving experiences. But either way, like I said, we're not demonizing people, okay? We can make a judgment call for our life and say, listen, me personally, based on, and I had to make that assessment on my life, based on where Aaliyah is, Aaliyah can't maintain this relationship. Aaliyah has to get out of here, get herself healthy, because me and this man are going to rip each other's head off, which we were pretty close multiple times. Not physically, but just biting each other, like fighting each other, because this person doesn't feel understood. This person doesn't feel understood. This person feels like they're explaining themselves effectively. This person feels like they're explaining themselves effectively, and we're both very good communicators. We just could not communicate with each other. We were speaking different languages, and both of us feel misunderstood and not loved or respected. You know, at first, I feel like I wouldn't have said that before, but I think in the end, I start to realize I don't feel respected, because I feel like if you respected me, you would do this. And this person's like, I feel like if you respected me, you would do this. And it's like, we do respect each other. We do love each other. It's just that our ways that we go through stress and process things does not work together. And so I made the executive decision for both of us to leave and get myself together. And I can tell that probably caused a little more damage, because even avoidance I feel like every person doesn't like rejection and abandonment, if we're being honest. And that's why I hate these categories, right? Because they pigeonhole people. Most people don't want to be rejected. Most people don't want to be abandoned. It's not a fun feeling to feel like someone doesn't receive you for the person you are, and that what you are is not good enough. But the most beautiful thing is, first and foremost, God loves you at the end of the day, and he made you exactly who you are. And the things that were made for evil in your life, God will turn it around for the good. I've seen it. And then the second thing is, it's okay. Speaking to it's okay if people don't like you. If you know that you are not inherently going out of your way to harm someone intentionally and do things to hurt people, and you have tried to fix the situation, rectify the situation, talk through, explain your perspective, and that person's not receiving it, or they're not even giving you an opportunity to understand you, you just need to wash your hands and move on. That's okay. Make peace that not everybody has to like you, because the way anxious attachment sometimes manifests is, you don't like this person, but it's hard for you to deal with rejection. So you get to the point where even to the people that you don't like, you're going out of your way to please them. Or I would either show up and be like, I don't give a damn. I don't know if damn is a curse word, but I just said it. But I don't care. Now I would go into, oh, well, everyone thinks I'm like this, so let me show them. Let me prove them right. And it's just like, no, you need to have a baseline of who you know yourself to be. You have to find your identity, which will take time, because sometimes it's really hard to find the core of who you are when most of your identity is entangled with trauma. So it's like right now I'm in the process of working through so much trauma that I have buried so low to figure out, oh, that's where I think like that. That's not actually who I am. That's a survival tactic that I had to develop to get through my childhood. But we are adults, okay? It's like my therapist told me, she was like, when you were surviving, that was a good tactic to get you to where you are. But now it's not healthy, because you're in a healthy space. And I want to be married and have 1 to 2 children. God's willing. Okay. So I need to be able to feel comfortable to have someone see majority of who I am, because the only person that will know me 100% is God. Let's be real. But I'm just saying all of that to say, let's be kind to one another. Let's operate in love. We'll probably never possess exactly the love that Christ had for us or God has for us. But I try to mirror that as close as I can. And like I said, if someone is hurting you and harming you, you have to make the decision to put yourself first. Okay? God is not going to tell you to continually put yourself in a situation where you're being harmed. All right, so now I just want to say where it started. So it started in the 1950s, and it was the work of John Bowlby. I said that very incorrectly. A British psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, which I would love to be a psychoanalyst, because I have a lot of background in information technology analysis. I'm a very good analyst. And then Mary Ainsworth also went and expanded, and she did the strange situation experiment, where she observed how infants reacted when they were separated or reunited with their caregiver. That's where she was able to see how some kids naturally were anxious, avoidant, XYZ. So I said all of these things to say that we are all beautiful people that God made on this earth. And some people make a decision and continually give in to things that are not godly. And those people who make those decisions, you need to separate yourself from. If they are manifesting in ways that does not display the fruits of the Spirit, it does not matter the position, the title, the relation, or the location. Separate. Because at the end of the day, we can over rationalize and we can over spiritualize everything and say forgive, forgive, forgive. Nowhere in the Bible did it say, he said, be as gentle as a dove, wise as a serpent. There's going to be people that will try to hurt you. Make sure that you're wise. Use your wisdom. Okay? When I was overseas and those people were going out of their way to try to sabotage me, there's no type of therapy. There's no type of rational thinking. There was no type of anything that I could have done to make that situation better. They decided they don't like me and they were going to do anything to destroy me. So I made a decision with discernment to leave because at the end of the day, these things only matter because we give it the power to. Second, for my romantic relationship that I had fostered feelings for, I had to make the decision that this person is not healthy. And although they have good qualities, they are not in the space to love me and I'm not in the space to love them. So to be honest, both of us contributed to the breakdown of that relationship. It was not just one person. I made the decision to get myself together. When I tried to reach out, that person was still in the process of working through a lot of things. They did not receive me. That's their right. People have a right to reject you. Okay? They have a right to say, you made a decision to heal yourself and get yourself together outside of me. I can do the same thing. People don't owe you nothing. Okay? That came off a little harsh, but it's the truth. People do not owe you anything. Okay? Look to God. Okay? Lastly, take time to let people show you who they are. I keep saying manifesting. Let people show you who they are. A lot of times when you are anxiously attached, you create a narrative or fantasy of what you want out of the person instead of what it really is. And then the opposite of that, sometimes things are showing up exactly how it is, and you're creating scenarios that are just not there. Okay? And sometimes when you're overthinking, something's gonna stick. Okay? But it's like, relax. Let life show you what it is and make your decision based on the reality instead of your feelings, your ideas, all those things. Feelings are indicators and they are true to you. Okay? They are true to you. So take time to process things. Love yourself first. I feel like love God first. Talk to God first. God will teach you how to love yourself and realize who you are as a person and what you need. Because the most important thing that has helped me is, does this person fit my life? If this person never changed, would Aaliyah be able to accept them for who they are? If the answer is no, you gotta go. Love you, still pray for you, but you gotta go because I've done too much work. Sometimes when you're anxious or when you love people or people in general, we try to fit people's lives. We try to show up as a savior and we wonder why we're in so much pain because that is not your job. There is one Christ that died, rose again, and people still don't receive him. You will not do it. You will not win. Walk away. You have to preserve yourself. At the end of the day, we all got to answer to one God. So yeah, and that's my last thing. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to make it as short as possible, but still make it personal to me to make it not feel like I'm talking at you, you know? And I just love to learn. So hopefully you guys like it. Bye.